What role does diet play in the process of spiritual ascension, and how important is it really? Now, this is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart because diet is what started it all for me. It's what opened me up to the possibility that there was more to this life, that I could heal my physical body, that I could improve the quality of my life, improve my thoughts, improve my emotions. It's what got me into personal development and eventually opened me up to the experience of my spirituality. Because, of course, we are not just biological beings. We are spiritual beings that have this biological vehicle called a body that we use to move around and experience life through. We can think of ourselves a lot like a computer. The body is like the hard drive that stores the memory of everything we've ever experienced. And the brain is like the processor that receives and translates energy from the larger network, what we would call God, spirit, infinite intelligence, the quantum field. And so we are like these giant biological antennas. But if the hardware, the nuts and bolts part of the physical body, is not working properly, it's like I dumped a cup of water on my computer. The signal is no longer going to come through in a clear way. There's going to be all this interference on the line, and so we're going to have a very difficult time experiencing our multidimensionality and the fullness of everything that this life can be. And so we can't be putting in these mucus forming, pus forming, inflammation causing foods and expect to be functioning optimally. What we put in our body, our diet, or more importantly, what we don't put in, must be a cornerstone of how we live our lives, in my opinion. So it's very interesting to me that this type of thing is not talked about very often in religious or spiritual circles. And of course, you do have people who seem to be able to eat whatever they want and be these enlightened spiritual masters. You look at people like Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's traveling all the time. He eats hotel food. He eats meat. Loves drinking wine, and he is this radiant, energetic, spiritual being. And so certainly, is it possible? Yes, I think so. But in my experience, people like this are kind of the exception. They are an anomaly. And if you ask me, if we're living this way and eating this way, we're kind of just creating a bunch of roadblocks for ourselves. We're making it more and more difficult on ourselves. And so I think this is a big part of the equation that's kind of been lost over time, because if we look back throughout history at these spiritual communities and very enlightened circles of thinking, they all understood that diet was a very important part of their individual evolution. We look at groups like the Essenes at the time of Christ, who taught that you should be eating raw, living foods, life-giving diet. We could look at some of the famous philosophers, mathematicians, initiates throughout time. People like Pythagoras or Leonardo da Vinci were vegetarians. They didn't eat meat. People like Plato and Socrates talked about these in ancient Greece, and it was very well known that the initiates that were coming through the Greek mystery schools were oftentimes told to abstain from eating these heavier, mucus-forming foods that really got in the way of them experiencing their spirituality in its fullness. We can also look at some of the gospel accounts of Jesus' life that were not included in the Bible. We have, for example, the Essene Gospel of Peace, one of my favorites. This one was found in the secret archives of the Vaticans. And in the Gospel of Peace, we basically have holistic health Jesus, who is going around teaching people how to live a clean lifestyle, teaching them how to eat and prepare healthy, life-giving foods, or raw, uncooked, very nutritious foods. Jesus is also telling them how to perform enemas, water enemas in the river. And this is something that I've been experiencing as well with enemas, is there is this direct correlation between the waste in our body and our ability to feel true joy and lightness and clarity and love. When I'm good about my enemas and I'm doing them regularly, it is mind-blowing what really has been accumulated in the body, the amount of waste we have that needs to get out. Um, and when we give it that help, that aid, and the body eliminates, you almost feel this euphoria, this joy. It's like this relief where you just feel so light, so clear in the mind. I even get these energetic releases in different parts of my body, kind of these tingling sensations and emotional releases as well. And so there is absolutely a correlation between our physical body, the amount of toxicity and waste buildup, and the ability of that spiritual antenna that we call the body to receive these signals of true creativity, enlightenment, happiness, joy, love, abundance. And this is such an interesting concept, I think, but it really makes sense that if we have all these low vibrational toxins and like this sewage that's built up in the body, it most certainly will not be working the way that it was designed to receive all of these thoughts and pure impulses from spirit. And so it really is about taking care of the physical body. The body is a temple, that phrase that we throw around a lot. And if nothing else, for me, what I experienced when I started to radically change my diet and cut out all the things that were not serving my health is it kind of just, if nothing else, increases your stores of energy, because most people are just barely making it through the day. We can barely make it through the day with our energy drinks and caffeine and coffee, and we're in pure survival mode. We have no time to think about anything else but our obligations, our work, our family, what we have to get done, and then we go to bed and we do it all the next day. And so what I found is in changing my diet, I had that extra 10% at the top of my gas tank. And that extra 10%, I was able to start investing in my own growth and exploration. You could start to read books, listen to podcasts. You have the extra clarity of mind and those reserves of energy to invest it back into your own personal development. And so when we're in survival, we can't contemplate spiritual things and the meaning of life, philosophy, our own evolution. But when we start to put into the body what serves it, what energizes it, what helps it to repair, we can really move out of survival and start contemplating deeper questions like, who am I really as this soul, this spiritual being, and what is the purpose of this adventure that I came here to have? And so this is what is becoming more and more clear, at least to me, through my experience. You may have a different experience, but as much as I like to believe that we could use and abuse these bodies and put in whatever we want and indulge, let loose, enjoy all of these sensual pleasures of life and still be functional in an optimal way, I just don't know that this is the case. It seems very unlikely to me. And so I don't have a straight answer for you. I know that I will continue to learn more as I experiment on myself and continue on this path, but I would love to hear what your thoughts are, what your experience has been. If you agree, if you completely disagree, I would just love to connect and have a conversation. So leave me a comment down below as well if you're looking to learn more about a clean, life-giving, mucus-free, raw food centered diet. I will put some resources down below. You can download my ebook completely free. You can also join us in the 30-day raw food challenge if you're looking for that sense of community and accountability to get you on the right track and to learn everything that I have gathered over the course of my journey. So definitely check that out. I appreciate you tuning in and joining me today. Again, let me know what your thoughts are. I would love to hear from you. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll be back with more soon. So I'll see you then.